Welcome back to the Oddity Shop, you oddballs, where the bizarre is always on sale. I am your curator, the best curator, Zach, sitting here with the other bestest curator, Kara. Kara, how are you today?
I didn't know where that was going.
I didn't know either. I never do.
I'm doing fabulous. What?
I'm sorry, I skipped ahead. Before you tell me how you are, this is the podcast where we tell you creepy, odd, weird, strange, bizarre stories from around the world. Okay, now, how are you?
Oh my God.
I didn't do my job well.
I'm good.
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I was going to get some caffeine before we started tonight, and I realized I only have one left, and it's going to be far more important I have it in the morning. So I'm going to just pretend I have all the energy.
You do.
Let's see. What's new, though? I don't think I've talked about my camping trip yet. No. So, well, I've talked about going on it, but I didn't talk about actually going.
Did it?
So now I've gone, and I've
gone.
I don't know what to do. I have like a bucket of 20 pounds of rocks in my room, and like half of them, I know what they are. Like we found so much quartz and unakite and
you did
like agates and stuff.
That's cool.
I think it's time. I'm going to buy a rock tumbler.
Oh, I'm so excited because I started following this, not following, but I started watching this girl's reels, and she's like the rock girl or something. And she's so fucking cute. And then she's always rock tumbling.
See, that's what I need to do. Because like, I found rocks in the wild in our home state.
Rocks.
But I've paid like $15, $20 for these at the store. So I'm going to start tumbling my own crystals and saving me some money.
Yay.
That's about it, though.
And you're going to be here tomorrow.
I am going to be there tomorrow. We're going to do a little sleepover. Well, not tomorrow night.
Not
Saturday
tomorrow,
night. But I'll still see you tomorrow.
Well, Wikipedia got dark mode.
Oh, about time.
So there's that.
That is the only website that I don't have in like dark mode, and I've been waiting.
It is one of those things where, though, it's like I'm so used to it not being in dark mode that it's like almost like alarming. Because I was like super pumped and I changed it, and I was like, I don't know if I can do this right now.
You'll be fine in a week.
I know.
I used a different computer and pulled up Word, and it wasn't in dark mode. I'm like, why is this so blinding?
Oh, I still keep my Word not in.
Oh, you're crazy. Oh, dude, so you know I've still been like cooking at home a bunch, and I've been perfecting my kielbasa and kraut recipe. I finally have it down, the best I've ever made. And it took a lot of Dijon mustard and a lot of red onion, but it is so good.
Are you not? I totally forgot about this until you just said that. Are you not having like an allergy anymore?
That only happened the one time, and I don't know if I just ate. It was like
for a little bit, though, I thought.
Well, it happened one day, but it was after a week of eating a ton of kraut. This was the first time I tested it again, and I ate the same amount, but I was also having other fermented food last time, so I pickled cucumbers and onions and a couple other things. So I made sure that was the only. So I didn't break out. So I think I'm okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
So I didn't break out from hives, and I got 20 pounds of rocks. What is fun and exciting in your life?
I already told you, Wikipedia went dark mode.
That's it?
I'm sure there's other. I'm so bad at this, I like just forget. The second we start recording, I don't know what the hell's going on. Dang, I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm just excited for you to be here.
It'll be soon. I did finally gather, I was going to say all your gifts, but it's only 3 things, but I did remember to bring them, so.
Oh, I have a whole pile of stuff, but I really do want to make that video first.
Yes, we do have to. We have to do some TikToks.
Oh, I got a bunch of spell jars came in, so we can do spelly things. We can make spell jars.
Works for me. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, if that's the case, let's get this shop opened up.
Move on. Okie dokie.
Do you have a question for me?
What's the most common descriptor of aliens?
Ooh.
Like, what would I guess what comes to your mind?
Are you looking for like one detail or multiple details?
Just kind of like one, maybe like detail or phrase that you think would be like the most common.
I was going to say green at first, but that's why I asked. But I'm going to say short gray and big eyes. Because I feel like we've moved away from the green and into the grays.
I was going to say at least the longest lasting or the first description was little green men. So I was thinking that that's kind of more the common. But I get where you're coming from. you and I have obviously touched on this where we don't necessarily believe that, or maybe we think that there's maybe different races or classifications, or we don't really know. And stories definitely get fabricated and people love to enhance the details of what they went through because drama's a bitch.
It sure is.
But anyway, we're going to move on from that. That was just your question.
Oh, okay. So what's in the show?
So have you, this is another question for you.
Oh my God.
They might all tie in. I don't know.
It's like when you open the door and there's another door.
Yeah. So anyway, have you heard of the anarchy?
No. I mean, I've heard of anarchy in general.
Anarchy. Okay. So the anarchy was a civil war in England and Normandy, or was between them or whatever, between 1138 and 1153.
That is a badass name for a war.
Now, here's the thing. Do not fucking come for me. Don't say a goddamn word. I'm sure I've already said this on the podcast. I have no intention of watching Game of Thrones. Do not fucking ask me to watch it. I will never watch it. However...
Hey, do you want to watch Game of Thrones this weekend?
No, fuck you. What's the spin-off one now?
House of the Dragon.
House of Dragon. Apparently, I don't know about essentially the Anarchy War, this war. I don't know if that's true. I just read it. I'm just putting it out there for those that have watched Game of Thrones.
I have not watched season 2 of House of the Dragon. I'm slacking.
Gotta ask Aaron. So the conflict was a war of succession. And it was basically kind of all started or was a collection of things, but it kind of was all brought on by the accidental death of William Adelin, I believe is how it is. And he was the only legitimate son of King Henry the First.
Okay.
Right? That's just the first.
Yes.
I always get fucked up, right? Because it's just King Henry, then King Henry, one, whatever.
King Henry the First. And then it was King Henry the Second, I do believe.
Yeah. Okay. Was there a third?
All the way to 8, in fact.
Okay. Is that fact?
Yeah, Henry VIII.
Oh, you're so cute. I didn't know if it went after that, though.
Okay. I don't know if it went after that either, but I just think I, Henry VIII, I am. Henry VIII, I am. Okay. It's from Ghost, the movie. And other things.
You're very cute. Okay. So basically, like I kind of said, it all stemmed from the accidental death of King Henry I's son, who had drowned in the White Ship disaster of 1120. Do you know about that?
Nope.
I thought maybe you would because you'd be loving a ship disaster.
I usually do, but I don't have them all in memory.
So Henry sought to be succeeded by his daughter known as Empress Matilda, which, what a name.
If I ever have a daughter, that is what I'm naming her.
Matilda's so cute. Empress Matilda. Ah! Anyway. So basically, they were only partially successful in convincing the nobility to support her.
Oh,
so
even with a name like Empress?
I know. So the war resulted in a widespread breakdown in law and order, making the name obvious to that. It was very dark, tumultuous time. So we all know how wars go, but I think in that time it's very crude and not a good time.
Just being in that time doesn't sound like a good time. And what little infrastructure they have breaking down, I think I'm good where I'm at.
So we are going to jump to 1150. So, a little bit after this war or during this war, a strange incident occurred in Woolpit, Suffolk.
Okay.
2 children were found in a wolf pit. Okay. So a wolf pit, for those that don't know, is pretty much what it sounds like. It's a pit dug into the ground, built from stone. And this is also referred to as a wool pit. And this is actually how this town kind of became known as Woolpit because of like all these pits. But either way, it was intended for trapping animals, not children.
Did the wolves make the pits, or the pits were made for the wolves to capture them?
So they're basically like, I don't know, they range in size, but they're just huge, square, dug in pits. If you look it up, you'll know exactly what it is.
Okay, so it's a human created pit.
Yep, and it's bricked up or like stoned up. You know what I'm talking about? Like you can envision it.
Bricked up.
But it's basically intended for catching wild animals and wolves and things like that. So the trap is typically like camouflage with stick and brush, so children could fall into it accidentally.
Gotcha.
Okay. However, the children in the pit isn't necessarily the strange occurrence. The alarming part is that the children in the pit had green skin.
Ooh.
To make the incident even stranger, the children seemed to speak gibberish.
Do we know what shade of green? Like a lime, a chartreuse?
I think it's probably my shirt. Just kind of why I wore green.
Love it. Okay, so like a muted mint green is what we're going with.
I don't know if this is more sage green.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Sage green.
What are you thinking at this moment?
I'm thinking there's two kids in a pit whose skin is green and they're talking gibberish.
Why? Yeah, okay, that's all. You do have any other thoughts?
Well, you asked me an alien question, so I guess I'm thinking aliens, but I feel like I need some more details before forming.
No, okay. Perfect. Moving on. Not only did these children look oh my God, Kara, get it together. Everybody help me get it together.
Wow.
I left work early today. I literally left almost an hour early because I was just so overstimulated, and I was like, I couldn't articulate. I couldn't formulate a sentence. I couldn't do anything. I was just like, I got to go home. And I went home. Good. So that's where I'm at right now.
It's okay. We'll get through it.
Sorry, listeners. So not only did the children look different and speak different, they were said to have been dressed strange as well. So whatever garments they had on were just like not, I wouldn't say not of the time per se, but just weird materials and strange. Like they just weren't sure about it.
Okay.
During harvest, while the reapers were employed in gathering in the produce of the fields, two children, a boy and a girl, completely green in their persons and clad in garments of strange color and unknown materials, emerged from these wolf pits. Newborough recounted in his History of English Affairs from 1212.
Oh, so it's like recorded. Well, I guess if we're talking about it today.
Yeah. So that is kind of the description of like what they witnessed. Okay. So this, thankfully, this weird, strange green children that don't speak English or whatever they spoke. What are they? Yeah, they just don't fucking know. This didn't stop the villagers from bringing the children back to town, which I think in some cases you think that it would stop them. Like, I don't know.
You know what? These are better villagers than we usually deal with. So let's see where it goes.
So once back in town, the children were brought to the home of Sir Richard de Calne, who ultimately took them in and cared for them.
As if they were his own?
Yes.
How old do they appear? Do we know?
I don't really have an age. It didn't really nowhere said like ages, but from like how it kind of sounds, I think I would probably say maybe like 10, 12, like not like small children, but like.
Gotcha.
They clearly spoke, but not a language that they knew. So it wasn't just like it was little kid gibberish. Okay. So obviously part of caring for the children is feeding them.
That's usually a pretty big part.
So when Sir Richard tried giving the pair food, they seemed to stick their noses up at it. And the green children refused to eat anything offered to them for days.
I mean, if you're going to be saved, at least eat what the Savior's given you.
I mean, you would think, but I don't know.
Rude.
This is until they spotted some green beans in the garden. And the children began to like savagely eat them. And they were eating them straight from the ground. Like they weren't even like, oh, let me slap this on a plate and get some utensils. They were just ripping these green beans out of the ground and just eating them. Dirt and all.
Yum. I mean,
it's just weird. I mean,
plus like green beans before they're cooked, they're not easy to eat.
No, I guess you're right. Because if they're straight from the garden, then they're like pretty like tough.
Stiff, yeah. Ugh.
I mean, we're in 1150, so it's
yeah, they're probably pretty used to tough food.
Okay.
They don't have Jolly Green Giant yet.
No, they don't.
Although they would have thought it was their dad. Okay, sorry, go on.
Oh my God. Maybe he was their dad. Okay. Anyway, moving on. Over time, living with Richard, he was able to slowly introduce different foods to the children. And this with time, some say years, the children lost their green color to their skin. And additionally, with the time spent, the children learned how to speak English. And this is a very wonderful thing as it allowed the children to be asked the questions that we all have.
Where are you from?
Where the F did you come from?
Right.
And why the hell are you green?
And how did you end up in a wolf pit?
Right. So, are you ready?
Yes.
We are inhabitants of the land of St. Martin. who is regarded with peculiar vegetation in the country which gave us birth. We are ignorant. We only remember this, that on a certain day, we were feeding our father's flocks in the field. We heard a great sound, such as we are now accustomed to hear St. Edmund's when the bells are chiming. And whilst listening to the sound in admiration, we became on a sudden this is so hard to read. We became on a sudden, as it were, entranced and found ourselves among you in the fields where you were reaping. So basically, they're just like in a field dealing with their father's flock. They hear a sound that essentially sounds like what they're referring to as the church bells that they hear now in this town.
Yeah.
And then they're entranced, and then they have no memory. And then after that, they're just inside a wolf pit.
So are they from like the island St. Martin?
I don't know. I don't know. So Agnes, as the girl went by, continued with, the sun does not rise upon our countrymen. Our land is little cheered by its beams. We are contented with that twilight, which among you precedes the sunrise or follows the sunset. Moreover, a certain luminous country is seen, not far distant from ours, and divided from it by very considerable river. So in short, the place that they come from is drab and gray with pretty much no sunlight.
That sounds fun.
I know, right? Okay. So they even shared that their food is pretty much all green in color. So maybe that's why they saw the green beans and were very excited to eat them.
At least it's like the first kids ever. You didn't have to train to eat vegetables.
Train.
It's what it is. Let's be honest.
Okay. She clearly has like the clear memories of where they came from and what it was like. This is what I find strange. I understand that they're fucking green children. That's so weird. But I find it strange and like fascinating, I guess, that there was nothing like reported about trying to find their family or the kids being like just like upset that they lost their family or like where did their like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's just really weird to me.
There's really not a whole lot to go on. And it seems like, well, one, I guess if they're green skinned, like you're probably not going to find their parents, especially in this time. It's like, how are you even going to travel? You know?
Well, I do understand that, but I'm just saying like, it's just, I don't know, because I feel like there wasn't anything of like them talking about trying to find their actually family. Like it was just like, okay, we're going to take you in. And I guess that probably is the times where it's just like people were abandoned all the time, like during travel and things like that. So I guess I get that. I don't know. It just feels off to me that it's like, I don't know, like the kids never were like, we got to try to get back to our, I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Did they ever say anything about like wanting to go home, or were they just kind of like, all right, whatever?
Nothing was like reported about that. It was just that she could finally speak English, explained this. And then it was like, that's what I'm saying. Don't you think they would be like, okay, so now we can clearly speak to where we came from. Like, can you try to take us there? Like, I want my dad, like it's just weird.
People seemed a lot less concerned about that then.
I guess. Okay, so let's move past that and answer some questions. So why the skin could turn green according to sciencedirect.com. So chlorosis.
I don't know.
chlorosis. Chlorosis.
Sure.
Which results basically from malnutrition. So if you're malnourished, you can turn green, essentially, like have that sickly green, you know, like when you're, you're sick or you're on the verge of like throwing up, like you kind of get that green tinge. Okay. If you're malnourished, you could potentially get that green hue.
Okay.
Copper-induced green skin, both through ingestion and external exposure, has been shown to cause a peculiar blue-green pigmentary discoloration of hair, nails, and skin.
Definitely have had that from cheap jewelry.
I was just going to say, think of when you wear cheap jewelry. So, yep. Okay.
I actually have a little green line right now.
Yeah, your freaking little pinky. So, liver disease, I guess, could make you have like a tinge of green.
Yeah, it's usually more yellow.
Yeah, but, you know, people say yellow, green, whatever. I don't know. Certain drugs, I guess, could make you have that same maybe like sickly color. It's not entirely common that you just like turn green, but I guess it can happen.
Okay.
So I think possible malnutrition would be the logical cause in this case, especially since once the kids started like actually eating like more foods and stuff, they kind of lost their color of that green. So that, I guess, would be my logical thought, is that that was probably malnutrition, but I don't know.
That makes sense.
So I guess, what do you think?
What do I think made them green, or what do I think makes
out of
people
those,
green?
What out of those, like?
I'm going to guess, being that they already weren't eating when they got there, is probably malnutrition is the one that, Yeah.
Okay. So the most thought
explanation.
The most thought thank you, of the Green Children is that they were descendants of Flemish immigrants who had been persecuted and possibly killed by King Henry.
Okay.
So we did talk about that war. It was chaotic. It was crazy. It was anarchy.
They just kind of got displaced, didn't eat, turned green.
And it was called anarchy for a reason. It was rough in those streets.
Fair.
So without parents, they could have easily ran and ended up falling in the pit. And it's thought that the children were referring to St. Martin as their hometown, which was really the village of Fornham St. Martin, which was just north of Bury St. Edmunds.
Well, that makes a lot more sense than like the island, but the island is in the British Virgin Islands. So
yeah, I don't know. But I will say that some reports say that they were not just calling it St. Martin. They were saying that they were from St. Martin land. I don't know if that makes a difference, but that is something that they were saying. So I don't know. But that's just one of the thought is like, okay, their parents got killed during this war. They somehow fled, whatever, and just happened to just mix up where they're from pretty easily.
I could see that, especially if they weren't like good at speaking English. Like, if you're learning the language, it wouldn't be a far stretch to say like, I'm from Michigan land if I didn't know English.
Yeah,
you know?
and you're like a little kid too, so it kind of makes sense. So how do you not remember being trapped in a wolf pit though? I don't know. According to Cleveland Clinic, dissociative amnesia is when your mind blocks out important information about yourself, causing gaps in your memory. And one of the most common reasons for your mind blocks out things is to protect you from unpleasant, distressing, or traumatic experiences. It's not the same as simply like forgetting something. In most cases, you still have those memories, but can't access them. So they say dissociative amnesia often happens because of very traumatic experiences, including abuse, war, and natural disasters.
So a secondary thing that kind of goes with this, because I think the trauma is definitely a big thing if you like grew up in the anarchy, right?
Yeah, right.
But for like a hot second of my life, I wanted to be a philosophy major. And I remember this one class that I took that was, we're having a whole debate first about what comes first, memory or language.
Oh.
Which is like crazy when you think about it, right? Because usually your memories are formed within language or thought or language, Thoughts. Right? So I wonder if they didn't have if they only spoke gibberish.
That's crazy.
And they didn't have the language to help think about it, to ingrain that memory. Maybe some of those memories were lost because they just didn't have a way to like
articulate it,
articulate it, and then save it in their brain. I don't know. That's just a stretch, but
wait, that's really scaring me. What came first? What is it? Thoughts or language?
Thought or language.
Ew, I hate this.
Yeah, I had to write a whole term paper on that one. And
what did you think?
I think I was just trying to be like a little pain in the ass. And I was trying to prove how thought could come first. But it's hard to do it without like, I don't know, thinking. And
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's good input, but this could definitely explain though why they couldn't remember the events that led up to the pit.
Right.
So having your parents killed and you fleeing would probably make me want to, disassociate as well.
Oh, hell yeah.
But the weird thing to me, though, is that they both have the same like time frame loss of like that memory.
Oh,
like you'd think that they wouldn't both forget that exact time frame.
So when they grew up, did they like grow up to look like normal people once they weren't green anymore?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, they looked like children. They were just green. And then their clothing was just odd. And obviously their gibberishness.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. But there is, what is it called when like the delusion?
Mass hysteria?
where multiple people have the same. Yeah, maybe it's like not mass hysteria. What? There's that one though that's just delusion of like few people. They believe in the same thing or whatever. Maybe it's something like
mass
that. Mass
hallucination?
No, but it doesn't matter. Okay. You get what I mean. It's just maybe somehow they both just, I don't know.
I guess if they had similar genetics and similar events, it could make sense that.
Like how twins have like telepathy or something. Maybe they just had the same disassociation.
Yeah.
So speaking only their native tongue of Flemish could explain why villagers, though, thought that they were speaking gibberish.
Right. Yeah, because it's not like you're traveling like great distances back then and learning language because
exactly.
How would you?
Right. Yeah, they just didn't know that there was different languages, I guess, you know? Okay, so are you on board with this explanation? That King Henry potentially had their parents killed. They fled. It was probably malnutrition.
I don't know if I have enough to say that the King Henry part, but somehow separated from their parents, malnutrition, green, in a pit. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that you're like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, clearly that could be plausible. Jesus Christ. Plausible as like we don't have clear records, though. And it happened so long ago that we don't even have a way to better research this. So I do think that could be a very good theory.
Okay. It sounds like you have another one.
Yes. So the children came from Agartha. Have you heard?
Mm-mm.
This is a legendary kingdom that is said to be located on the inner surface of the earth.
Ooh, hollow earth, baby.
Yes, it is sometimes related to the belief in hollow earth, and it's a popular subject in esotericism. So basically, they just popped up from the inner earth and it just happened to spit them out in a wool pit.
Okay, so the wolf pit was super, super, super deep.
So that's one that people like to go with. Another theory that people go with is they are
aliens. See, that just doesn't work for me on this one.
Okay, so this could be where we came up with, though, the little green men. The story that we all kind of know. That story did become prevalent in the 50s, but historically the first mention of like quote unquote green men is, if you will, the Green Children of Woolpit.
Interesting.
So this kind of would make sense, like why no one like looked for them, because maybe that it's just a story to tell the villagers that they didn't know where they got there, but in reality maybe they were like visiting from a different planet or realm, learning our culture and language.
That one would be easier to believe had they stayed green or didn't look like humans when they grew up, which is why I asked that question. But I don't know. It's not screaming alien to me on this one.
So those are kind of the main theories that people kind of have gone with over time, is that they were just malnourished children. They were from the hollow earth, or that they were aliens.
How would they get out of the hollow earth, do you think?
I don't know. It just plopped them out. Okay. So out of those three, are you still just going with like their parents?
I mean, as much as I love the hollow earth theory and would like to entertain it, I feel like it's their turning ungreen for me that is making me stay in the skeptic camp on this one, or like the reality camp. Okay,
well, what if though in the hollow earth it was very green vegetation and things like that? Like they explained, they come from a place that everything's green, all their food is green. So you're just it's like, flamingos just are only pink because they eat all the salmon.
Yeah, but green is how things suck up the sunlight.
Okay.
So like if there's no sun in the hollow earth, why would they be green? Although it would explain the dark and drabness of
that is true.
The area they were describing.
Mm-hmm. I have some additional thoughts.
Okay.
So I was thinking that maybe they were abducted by aliens originally when they heard that loud sound and became like entranced. Possibly taken and held for who knows how long, and then they were just dropped back in the wrong spot. So like, like we all know that abduction, like people don't remember things. They lose that memory. They don't know how long they were gone, things like that. So maybe they were abducted, plopped back, and they just ended up in that wool pit.
Oh, and they were just fed alien food.
Yeah, and so maybe like the description of the town that they came from and all the green vegetation and food and were like just small memories of like wherever they were abducted to, and not actually their hometown.
All right, I'll give you a little point there to move it towards.
Yeah,
alien.
So I was just thinking like maybe they're just like having those, because there's a lot of stories where people like, I know I was abducted because I have these vivid weird memories of like these strange places that I've never actually been type of deal. So maybe they're talking about this like land that's like so drab and gray and there's no color, but all the food is only green. And that's why they had strange materials of clothing and things like that, is that maybe they were, you know, abducted and kind of like experimented on and like things like that. And they made their skin turn green or something. I don't know.
Did they describe what the weird clothes looked like? Because would we still think they're weird clothes?
No, they just said that it was like weird, like materials. Like the clothes were made out of strange materials.
Okay.
This is why when I read this, I was like, I need to talk about it because it's
it's
very
definitely,
weird.
It's such an oddity for sure.
It's weird.
I don't know if I think alien. I kind of think probably normal kids. We just don't know what the fuck happened to them. But I mean, you can definitely make an argument for other things.
You can, but here's my thought. I guess I cannot say that I've ever seen somebody that was so malnourished that they were turning like tinges of like that green color. But the way that these children are described is not like a hint of green or like their skin was like drab. It was that they were fucking green.
Okay, hold on a second.
You're going to look it up to see what people look like.
Well, no, I'm thinking like, you know how like if you eat too many carrots, you can turn orange.
You could turn orange.
I'm wondering if there's like a food, but I don't.
I tried to look it up, but nothing came up about like you turning green from food.
What if?
Because I thought the same thing.
Okay. Hold on. New theory.
What? Okay.
Ogres.
Oh, Shrek.
And you know, maybe they got cursed, and like Fiona could turn back and forth, so they weren't green anymore because they were in their human
got like
form.
half stuck.
Yeah. And nobody looks for parents in fairy tales. Half the parents are always dead in fairy tales.
This is true. And a lot of times it's because of the war.
See? Okay, I think that's it. Not aliens, not Hollow Earthers, just fairy tale children who are ogres.
Oh my God, I like it because that makes it kind of sweet-ish.
Woolpit's got to be close to swamps.
Yeah, 100%. So like another thought that I kind of had is just that maybe it's more paranormal and not necessarily alien, because we kind of know that stone and nature can give off energy. So perhaps that Woolpit was some kind of like conduit or like a portal, or that river that the children spoke of like near their home. Maybe that was some kind of flowing portal-y thing.
Okay.
I know. I was just really stuck on these like,
the other thing I was trying to think of is maybe with whatever that weird noise they were hearing, maybe is it some sort of like temporal anomaly, like a time?
Oh, yeah. I was kind of thinking that too. I just don't know where the green plays in, but if it's like a different realm or something, maybe.
Or a different dimension, maybe there's like a green person dimension. Yeah.
I'm curious of like what our listeners will think on this one, like which one they'll go.
Maybe you should ask them. Hey, listeners.
Please let me know.
What do you think makes people turn green in the 1100s?
Ogre. Or like what theory out of these do you agree with?
Or throw up a new one.
Oh, yeah. I'd love another one.
So we can mull over it in our phone calls outside of this.
Oh, God. Right. So at some point, the boy, who I guess was kind of sickly, like he was kind of said to be sickly the entire time. He did lose his green and got like healthy skin looking, I guess.
Okay.
But he did eventually die.
How old? I mean,
I don't know. I don't have any
I guess
ages.
people don't know how old they were, so.
Oh, no, they were young. He died as a boy. Like, this wasn't.
Okay, so they didn't make it to like adulthood or anything.
Well, so some reports say that he died before learning English and some say after. But the little girl, she was baptized and she adjusted to her new life very well. And she grew old and lived long in this village. I don't know how long because I don't know. But she was considered to be very wanton and impudent. And so a quick definition for everyone, because I didn't know what the fuck wanton meant, of cruel or violent action, deliberate or unprovoked, or sexually unrestrained or having many casual sexual relationships, typically used of a woman.
Okay, the first description is still given ogre, doubling down.
So, and then impudent is not showing due respect for another person. So basically, Agnes adjusted to her village, but she might have been violent, overly sexual, and disrespectful.
You know, she didn't have parents. It wouldn't be that shocking.
Right. I mean, I might be upset and weird, and I don't know if I was green for a decent amount of my life. And I'm sure even though the villagers tucked them in and like helped them.
Oh, took them in. I don't know why I heard tuck them in. They tucked their little green children.
Richard probably tucked them in too. I mean, he was caring for them.
Okay.
But I just mean, you have to imagine people probably made fun of them and there was a lot of talk and whispers and stuff. So I would probably be...
Yeah, not very nice either.
A little violent as well. I don't know.
Fair.
But I don't know. I can't actually say what Agnes was. That's just what people say.
All right.
And I will also note that some people think that this is just all folklore and that it is not true at all.
Fairy tale.
And
ogres.
There you go. Ogres. I don't think that it's not true though.
It's Shrek's long lost descendants. No, because there's a couple things that you noted as like different people writing about it or documenting it. So I do think that it happened. I'm probably, in all honesty, more in that malnutrition camp, but it is so weird that just green kids show up in a pit speaking gibberish. Like, that just doesn't happen. Okay,
I will go with all of that, except for I don't know why I can't get on board the fact that they both, this is what trips me up, they both have no recollection after they were in their father's, like in their land or whatever, flocking shit. And then all of a sudden they just hear a sound that sounds like church bells, that they were like entranced. And then after that, they both remember nothing except for they're in a wool pit.
Yeah.
Extremely far away from potentially where they came from. I just can't get over that part.
Yeah. Yeah, it is definitely weird.
That's what really makes me think about this. Because the green part, yes, I can totally get on board.
Okay.
Malnourished, but I don't know.
They're working on Dad's farm. The war kind of gets close to them, right? And I would imagine that suits of armor and swords clanging has a similar sound to church bells.
Okay. That makes sense. I could get down with that. Okay.
And maybe somehow they got in the scuttle. I don't know, hitting the heads or something. That's the best I got for you. And then thrown in the pit.
Maybe. I really thought that you were just going to say that armor, like they put on armor and then it turned them green.
Oh, yeah. See, they stole the armor. It was copper armor. Very popular.
I really thought that's where you were going. I was like, that's strange. No. Okay.
No, I had a little more logic than that.
So anyway, I don't know which way I go with, but I definitely don't think that it's just folklore. I think that it is true to some extent. I just don't understand that memory part.
And this is one of those ones that even if it has a totally normal explanation, it's still very weird.
It's weird. And I don't know. But that, my little oddballs, is the fairy tale of the Green Children of Woolpit.
The descendants of Shrek.
Maybe they're descendants of Shrek, not the Flemish.
There you go.
I love Shrek. I'm going to go watch it. I know you watched it recently. I need to watch it. I love Shrek.
I got to do it once a year. But good job, dude. Definitely one that I want to keep going on.
It's so weird.
What do we want for an emoji for this episode for anybody who's made it this far?
Green heart.
Green heart. I bet you they had the green little hearts. Okay, I'll take it.
They actually might have a little ogre looking thing, but I know they will.
That's okay. Drop us a green heart if you made it this far. As always, let us know what you want to hear about. Write in your stories. And I know I've said this like 5 times, but I've finally started doing some research. And Kara, you and I will talk about this later, but we are getting closer to being able to record your own stories and leave them for us. So,
oh, nice. Perfect. Cool. That will be fun.
Yes.
Yeah. So please, we're begging you, give us some ideas and thoughts of what you guys want to listen to, because sometimes I know we do different things and we just are hoping that you guys like them, but we'd love to like actually research and talk about something that you actually want to hear about. So do that. Give us the emoji.
Oh, we did get a suggestion of haunted lakes or haunted islands in Michigan. So I am doing some look into that. See, we do listen when you suggest them.
All right. Well, cool.
I think with that, we're ready to close this up.
Yes, let's close the shop so that I can clean my house so you can come over tomorrow and be nice and clean.
Perfect.
Okay. Love you all. We love and appreciate you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for still being here with us, even when my brain doesn't work. I love, appreciate you. But, most importantly, creep it real, y'all balls.
Goodbye.
Bye.